So much work.
Okay, today is Thursday, March 5th, 2025. I now call 2026. I now call this meeting of the Madison College Student Senate General Assembly to order at 4:33 p.m. Thank you very much. And at this time, I would like to say welcome to our General Assembly meeting of the Madison College Student Senate. This is a public meeting and will be recorded for transparency and direct conversations. We're going to cover a few basic items before beginning. If you lose connection at any point during the meeting, you can reconnect by clicking the link or calling the number in your original email. To the senators and other members online, please activate your video and keep it on for the duration of the meeting. If it is possible, use the raise hand feature when you'd like to be recognized to speak, ask questions, or request a roll call vote as chair. As to call on committee members, the order in which hands are raised, lower your hand if you have the cue. And at this time, could I please get a roll call?
Yes. Do we have President Jose Villarreal,
I'm the president.
Vice President, Administration Finance, Quinn Matson, I'm present. Do we have Vice President, Legislative Affairs, Ash Rogers?
Here, present.
Vice President, Team Development, Corey Thurso.
Present.
Vice President, Public Relations, Ari Nichols.
Present.
Thank you. And Advisor Cole Calio Prado.
Present.
Thank you. Senator Sanjay Jagadish.
Present.
Thank you. Senator Bethany Bauer, excused. Senator Ashley Larson.
Present.
Thank you. Senator Keziah Owolabi.
Late as of now, not hereby roll call be absent.
Okay, fine. Senator Idman Dua.
Absent.
Thank you. Senator Ashley Juarez.
Present.
Thank you. Senator Ali Mohammed.
Present.
Thank you. Senator Ida Wilma
Present.
and Senator Sierra Brunner.
Here.
Thank you. Reedsburg Senator Furkan Sindar
Present.
and Goodman South Senator Annette Crowder.
Present.
Hi, people. We've met for.
All right. I will now read the minutes for approval. So last week's meeting, we had Geraldo Vera Cruz, Associate VP Dean of Students. We had the 3-year plan. We presented Bill 004, Senate bylaws revisions. We had a lengthy discussion, very lengthy discussion of WSG membership fees. We did adjourn a little late. And that's pretty much it for the meeting. With that being read, I'd entertain a motion to approve the last meeting minutes. Motion made by Senator Crowder. Any seconds? Second by Vice President Ari Nichols. Open up now for discussion in person or online. Seeing none, hearing none, going to take a vote, unanimous consent, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Previous meeting minutes were approved. We will now read out the agenda for approval. Today's going to be order of business. We have Executive Vice President of Student Affairs, Dr. Tim Casper. We're going to have reports from officers, advisors, and standing committees. We will hear reports from the special and select committees. We will transition to reports from branch campuses, just 2 reports there. And then reports from College Assembly and shared governance. We have some unfinished business. We do have some new business. Then we will have some announcements. With that being read and that being said, I entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Motion made by Vice President Surtzel. Here, second.
Discussion.
Once I get to
sorry.
second, I'll get to discussion. Second Vice President Quinn Matson. Now I'll open up for discussion. Senator Crowder, you recognize?
Thank you. I'm wondering if people are interested in taking a break to get food from the pasta bar from the Leadership Summit at some point in our meeting.
So are you discussing maybe you'd like to amend the agenda?
Yes.
What would you recommend?
I think Ellie said about 5:30.
At 5:30, you would like to take a recess?
Yes.
And how long would your recess be suggested for?
I feel like we could do it in what, 15 minutes?
15-minute
I
recess
don't
at
know.
5:30. Any other discussion?
Yeah.
Do we have time? That's what, oh,
Yeah, do we
Vice
have,
President Corey Circle, you recognize?
yeah, do we have time, like, just with our public comment, team building?
No, I would defer to you guys as to how much time you think everything's gonna be.
I can, kind of give you a walkthrough of how we could do it. We can have the reports emailed in and sent in. We can table team building, and we can hear from Dr. Tim Casper, and then we can try to end the meeting by 5:30.
Come back.
Maybe come back at 6, all right. Vice President, Mattson.
I think that, we could do a 10-minute recess to grab pasta bar, if we are careful not to go over time on our reports.
Okay.
Okay. Any more discussion? Vice President Mattson?
Further discussion, you disclosed to me a few minutes before this meeting started that that Senator Bauer, put in a report about something. Do the people who made the motion to approve the agenda, are they open to amending that to add, approximately 2-minute report from Senator Bowers under announcements?
Vice President Social,
I mean,
would you accept that?
I believe so, yeah, I would.
Senator Crowder, would you accept that if you seconded the motion?
Gwen seconded.
Oh, yes, I would accept.
Okay. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, seeing none, gonna take a vote, unanimous consent. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 2-minute discussion or a reading of the report during what part of the agenda did you move that in?
During the
Announcements, read in. With that, do we have any more, Vice President Rogers?
Motion to table team building, considering what we have on the agenda, and save that so we have a really good one next week.
Do I hear a second to table team building? Seconded by Senator Crowder. I open up now for discussion in person or online. Vice President Quinn Mattson?
Have we moved to add a recess, or are we not moving to add a recess?
Would you like to bring that to a vote?
Discussion more so.
We're still in discussion.
We're in discussion for, other amendment, right?
So one motion at a time?
Okay.
Let's, we'll take care of Vice President Rogers' motion.
Okay.
And we can bring that to a vote. Any more discussion on that motion? Table team building? Okay. I'll take a vote, unanimous consent, if there is any. You do have, all you have to do is raise your hand and say, I don't consent, and we will bring it back into discussion. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Motion passed. Team building has been tabled. Now we can go into the motion of recess.
And make a motion to take a 10-minute recess,
Wait, what time?
maybe like 5:40.
First, motion made by Senator Crowder to have a recess at 5:40, seconded by Senator Jagadish. Do I hear any discussion in person or online? Okay, hearing none, seeing none, I'm gonna take a vote unanimous consent and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pass, we will take a recess. And now let's get right into it. Any other discussion on the agenda? All right, let's get right into it. We will have Dr. Tim Casper, Executive Vice President of Student Affairs, for public comment.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good to be with you. Good to be back in Madison. I did about an hour ago from Portland in the Achieving the Dream Conference, so here we are. Few items to update you all on this evening, some of which are items from past conversations. So starting with the Workday Student Information System project, spoke to you all about this early in the fall semester, before the semester began. And over the course of the last 9 months, we've been making tremendous progress in accordance with the timeline that we've set forward with this particular effort. Beginning next fall of 2026, both continuing students who might be selecting a new program of study, as well as brand new students to Madison College, will be applying and being admitted to that program through the Workday Student Information System. So we will be working over the course of spring and summer to train our various staff members in the enrollment services area, academic advising, some of the other areas that support students with actively enrolling in new programs of study with understanding the functionality of that system. And we'll be creating associated job aids for students, both new and continuing students who might like the program to enroll in to use for that function. So we're excited about the progress we've been making there, and that'll be, again, the first step into using Workday. For current students, those of you who may not be changing programs of study next year, you will continue to use PeopleSoft during the next academic year for all the functions that you presently use it for, as I shared back in the fall. It won't be until the start of the fall 2027 semester where we will begin to use Workday Student for all the functions that are currently performed by you in PeopleSoft. And so that will require a much greater effort on the college's part to both support those faculty and staff members who use it daily, but as well, and very importantly, each of you and your fellow students with using that new system. So in the vein of continuing our learning, we have sent professionals to the Workday conference that occurred back in the fall semester to begin to learn more about the support that they can provide to us. We have actively engaged with and currently have an engagement partner who has worked with other colleges to implement the Workday Student Information System. They too are sharing with us their lessons learned as they work alongside us to develop the types of training supports we need to make a good go of this. Finally, there's a small group of us that next week will be attending a conference with other colleges and universities that have already implemented Workday. And so we have a list of questions that we'll be seeking to get the insights of those institutions that have traveled this road before us to learn what worked really well. And more importantly, what did they wish they could have done if they could do it all over again. So I'm looking forward to that learning. But it's mostly, again, for you all at this point in time, not a lot of big changes, but for next year in the fall, if you're a continuing student and applying to a new program of study, you will be using Workday. Any new student at Madison College doing the same would be doing. Next, you just heard last week, Dr. Villacruz talk about the JED Foundation work, so I'm not going to spend additional time on that subject with you all this evening. I did provide our District Board of Trustees an update on the project and the next steps in identifying those strategies. And once those strategies are identified, we'll be updating our district board as well as all of you on how we're going to proceed over the next 2 to 3 years with that work. Wanted to make you all aware tomorrow. I know it's typically a more quiet day on campus in terms of classroom activities, but if you are around tomorrow, particularly here at the Truex campus, you will see a number of guests from other Wisconsin Technical College systems. We are hosting the first annual Wisconsin Technical College AI Summit. While the content is focused on our faculty, staff, and other manager professionals, the content is really focused about how do we support students in all the different ways that AI is impacting how organizations like Madison College will do its work. So there will be sessions focused on security and AI, ethics and AI to improve various business processes that we use either directly to support you all as students or to support the employees of the institution. Indeed, there will be some that are focused on what's happening with our students more directly, and our own library staff have a presentation that they'll be giving on how libraries support the use of generative AI. So I'm excited to see that presentation tomorrow that our colleagues in the library have put together. Some of our other colleagues at the college have put together other sessions for this. And again, while it's focused on employees, it's really to support our employee learning and development with how this tool, AI, is going to impact the work that we all do with you as students and amongst ourselves. Other items at the Achieving the Dream workshops this week. Attended a couple of different sessions that were focused on well-being, and one of the colleges there, Dallas College in Dallas, Texas, spoke about their experience. They have in place many of the same types of programs and services that we have, and they too are using the JED model to inform their future planning and assessment practices. So that was good to hear. A number of other colleges talked about how they're working to support students with career selection and identification. Some researchers from Columbia University and their Center on Community College Research shared that there's actually not a lot of research there. And so in a very large session, they shared some survey research they did of about 4,000 community college students last year, and the insights they gained from students at colleges like ours. I don't know if any of our students were selected as part of the survey, but 4,000 students was a healthy number to have participate in this. And some of the issues that they identified resonated with me because sometimes I heard some of these same things from, if not the folks in this room specifically, other students I've spoken with in prior years and this year here at the college. And that is, there's a lot of exciting opportunities that students see themselves pursuing in very different and distinct career paths. What do I mean? I'm reflecting on a conversation I had with a student out in the community. I was at the grocery store and I had a Madison College shirt on, and the student said, "Oh, I'm a student at Madison College." I said, "Well, what are you studying?" And they started talking to me about a program of study in one of our allied health areas. I believe it was dental hygienist. Then they talked to me about studying business. I'm like, okay. Then they talked to me about studying criminal justice. And in my head, I was like, these are three very distinct career paths that this individual is interested in. And while I shared with that student, you might do all those things over the course of your professional life. You may not need all the degrees at the same point in time, right? And so, having worked with other individuals at the college and had similar conversations, it's something that I know our career services team and our academic advisors have tools to work with you and others who are still trying to figure out what is it that I really want to do. I know I need to invest in myself. I know I want to better myself professionally, personally, and economically. But making that decision is a difficult decision for a lot of different reasons. So it was interesting to hear how some institutions are beginning to think about that. And it's going to be an area of focus for me and Gretchen Rixey, our Associate Vice President who oversees our academic and career advising services, to unpack more of what we've learned and engage with some of our fellow colleagues here at the college about how we can better, again, support students with making a choice, right? It's great that we offer so many choices, and some choices fit together more harmoniously than others and are very clear from a perspective that the student has on what they want to achieve professionally. But sometimes there might be, well, maybe today to start out the next 5 to 10 years of your career, maybe just dental hygienist. And then maybe later on, if you want to pursue a career in criminal justice, if you're so moved, maybe that's what you come back to do. Thinking back on that student I had a conversation with across the meat counter at the grocery store those years ago. Finally, in terms of other changes that are newer to the college, the Wisconsin Technical College System administers various state regulations. And one of those regulations is numbered TCS 10. And it deals with waitlist for certain programs that have more student interest than we have capacity to serve the students with. And so the WTCS spent about 2 years working with all 16 of our colleges, and not just us, to come up with a new process because they wanted to see uniformity in how each of the 16 colleges were administering waitlist to their programs. And so the spring semester was the first time we had the opportunity with the regulations in place to notify students and ask them, you're on a waitlist for program A. Do you still want to be on that waitlist? Or would you like to join the program if there's space available? And if there's not space available, do you want to continue to be on the waitlist? So we've begun that process. There were a number of students who did not respond to that. So we provided those students the opportunity till May 1st to indicate if they choose to continue to be on the waitlist for that particular program of study. And then we will also look at the data and student behavior and see what happened to students who might have been on a waitlist. And did they come in the fall and begin perhaps a different program of study in a program without a waitlist? Are they continuing to take certain prerequisite courses perhaps for that program? Or perhaps, in this we won't be able to find out right away, but have they transferred to a different institution that might be able to accommodate their interests? So some of that research, again, we'll be able to do very quickly in the fall semester after it starts, but some of it might be longer term because it depends on data that's housed at the National Student Clearinghouse and is dependent upon each college and university submitting records about its students to them. Then we can find out what happened to a student who had been here at Madison College. That concludes my report this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Casper. And I've opened up for discussion. Senator Crowder had her hand up right away, so you are recognized.
Thank you. How are you guys reaching out to the students that are on the wait list?
So our enrollment services team have put together email communications to reach those students. And I think also USPS.
Okay. I guess I'm just wondering if there was any thought on doing outbound calls like what Rise does, or when people are recruiting students to come back for the semester. Just because I would hate for someone who, that's all they need to do is respond to that and they missed it because they can't get in their email, forgot their password, whatever.
Some of that's a capacity issue right now
Sure.
at this moment. So as I talked about the Workday project, a number of the staff who are in the admissions office are heads down working on that project. So I think in our ideal state, we would definitely have people try and reach out via multiple modes, including phone calls. But I also am aware that they are in this, it's a very heavy workload for them associated with the project and trying to do the rest of their day job, air quotes
And
around
that's
that.
something that possibly students could do.
I don't have the answer to that, because there's FERPA issues, as you're probably aware, related to that. So, that would be a question I can follow up with Bill Doherty and send something back to Cole and President Villarreal.
Thank you.
Good question. Vice President Rogers?
Thank you. I heard you mention that AI summary or that AI summit.
Mhm.
And is that open to students and where is it happening?
So it's not open to students and it's sold out. So they literally, I was on the wait list and just got notified last week, Wednesday, that a spot opened up for me. And so that was the intention, of the WTCS. They heard from us as colleges, in the different groups, the provost has a group, student services, the financial team, et cetera, that we really needed to do some sharing amongst ourselves. And so all the presenters are from the different colleges. In part, I think because we're hosting it, and in part because we've got really talented people. We have a majority of the presenters, is what I understand. But that doesn't mean we're the only institution presenting to fellow peers. And again, I think the good news for you all, and the reason I wanted to share it, it's not because it's not open to you. That's not great news, I realize. But it's because it's another developmental opportunity that we're taking. We don't already have 5, 10, 15 years worth of experience around these types of issues. And so again, we and our sister colleges wanted to accelerate our own learning and development, and thinking about how to navigate the challenges that AI presents, but also leverage the opportunities that it has.
Vice President Rogers?
Quick follow-up. Is there a way that those results can be shared out? Are we going to hear kind of what is learned, where that conversation heads?
It probably is just going to begin to influence the conversations going on in the different parts of the college. It is probably the best way to present it, because say that the finance department here at the college might think about how to use AI in a dramatically different way than the student advising unit would, than a faculty member might. And so as we think about where we're going as an institution, we know that we have a focus on how do we stay contemporary and further ahead, if you will, of where this is going. And again, AI is so broad, as we've talked about it the past 2 years as we put together Vision 2030. I remember sitting in some of those discussion groups, and a faculty member in a certain discipline was thinking of it in one way, a librarian was thinking of it in another way, an IT security professional from the college was thinking it in a third way. You're like, yeah, it impacts all of those things. And yet that person only needs to understand how it impacts IT security. For example, Jesse LeGrew and that team. And that faculty member wanted to know, well, how do we, make use of it? Because we understand our students will be expected to use it perhaps in their workforce, an IT faculty member, the example. But how do we also make sure that the student knows how to evaluate the information coming forward from an AI solution? And I didn't attend a specific workshop on that, but one of the keynote speakers touched upon that in their remarks at the conference, which again, wasn't news to a lot of us at this point in time. But those conversations have greatly accelerated since November of 22 when ChatGPT was opened to the world. And for those of us who weren't IT nerds and weren't thinking about it, it's like, well, what does this all mean?
Thank you so much, Advisor Cole, then Senator Crowder.
Appreciate you bringing up TCS 10. I just finished talking with the Watertown campus man.
Yeah.
And so we had Kevin Foley here in the summer to actually talk to us about some of the TCS 10 changes. And one thing we never got a full response on, but I'm just curious if you can provide on, is for the students that are placed on the wait lists.
Yeah.
What type of courses or course of action can they take to still be enrolled in courses, even though they can't be working on their programs? I know that was a question we had asked. We hadn't heard fully back on that, so if you have any insight.
So student health programs that's where Kevin Foley, for those of you who might not recall, he's in the school office of our health sciences area. Many of them have what they call pre-program requisites, right? Those are usually math and science courses, things like anatomy and physiology, things like Algebra 1, Algebra 2. And so those are courses that students may still take if they haven't already successfully completed those courses as part of that journey.
Senator Crowder?
I just wanted to mention that I was at the leadership conference downstairs. And the last session that I went to was called Envisioning Collaboration, Building Bridges Between Student and Faculty and, oh my God, words are moving around, sorry. Okay, Student Affairs and Faculty Affairs for Student Leadership. And what I found really interesting about it is it talked about like embedding leadership into courses. And I know that we do that somewhat in some of the courses, but I just wonder if there's a possibility of being more intentional. For example, like the, what is it, government and, who's taking that class? The government and something. I haven't had to take it. But I know there's a class called government and something.
Yep.
You know, like encouraging professors to like, I don't know, send people to a student senate meeting or encourage them to, you know, go meet one of their representatives at the Capitol and like receive some sort of, I don't know, badge, extra credit points or something like that. Or, I mean, specifically, this was talking about, you know, just building leadership into the different courses that, you know, Madison College might offer. Not necessarily every single one is possible, but just, you know, helping students to become leaders in their classes.
Thank you. I will definitely share that with Dr. Giles.
And I can send you, I took some pictures of a few of the slides because it gave ideas and it even offered suggestions of teachers could do like guest spots and have someone go over something with the class as a whole for like 10 minutes, which I got to do when I was helping to tutor the class for the Writing Center. And that was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't want to forget, Advisor Cole is also an advisor to this group, the National Society for Leadership and Service.
Yeah.
That your predecessors as students seeking more opportunities to more formally develop leadership skills. So when we enter, this is the 4th year, 5th year?
For NSLS,
For NSLS.
we're actually in the almost 10.
Time flies.
Yeah.
So that's an opportunity that I'm always excited to get to that event and see the students who participated in it. They have a mini graduation type ceremony, for lack of a better phrase, and share their stories about what that meant. And while that's an outside the classroom activity, it's also applicable to any student regardless of what program or study that they're in, because everyone can be a leader even if you don't have the title. And we talk a lot about that at the college. You don't need to be titled leader to lead certain things at our institution. The same will be true for many of you as you enter the workforce. You might not be a manager day one or a director day two, and you might never want those titles either, but it doesn't mean you won't be a leader in your organization or your community in some meaningful way.
All right. If there's no other questions, I'd like to give Dr. Tim Casper a round of applause.
Thank you all. Wish you all the rest of your meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Casper. Right, if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns that they didn't think of at the time, you can always channel them through Advisor Cole or me, or you can also direct an email Dr. Tim Casper. All right. We're going to now transition to disclosures and recusals. Is there anybody here in person or online that would like to disclose or recuse themselves from anything? Hearing none, seeing none. We are going to transition to reports of officers and committees. And I'll start with the Executive Council and President's report. E-team did meet. We did discuss the elections. We discussed a little bit of the reason why we are going to assign delegate when it comes to setting up projects. So we had a lengthy discussion. It was fulfilling, and we approved the agenda. We did not do very much besides that. So with that, I'd open up for any questions or comments for the report. All right, hearing none, seeing none, we're going to now go to Vice President Quinn Matson for the Finance Committee report.
Yeah, Finance Committee touched briefly on the 3-year plan and how that would go over. Most of what we talked about was Club Funding Committee. Sean Green was absent, so Idman led the way. We looked at a couple more requests coming in from the Skills USA conglomerate. And that was most of our business.
Thank you, Vice President Quinn Matson. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, I would please ask that you email or Teams Vice President Quinn Matson. He will respond in due time. We'll now move to Rules and Legislative Affairs Committee. Vice President Rogers, for your report.
We had a pretty quick meeting. The only thing we went over was the resolution that I was given, the bill rather, from Ari about the media coordinator, which you'll probably see after break as Ari rolls that out. It looks super good. We're excited to talk about that when it comes.
It was an exciting little discussion on that new position. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I would ask that you please email or Teams Vice President Rogers. We will now move to Team Development Committee. Vice President Surtsel.
Yeah, so we met this Tuesday and this is very quickly regarding our warm clothes drive. And we're starting to create some media to pass along and advertise kind of that clothing drive. We're still trying to formulate more logistical or detailed logistics for that event. But we did discuss pretty lengthy, just back and forth regarding how to optimize our training for the next Student Senate. And the main thing that I caught with majority of our attendees and our members is that the accessibility around language for our trainings is definitely a barrier. And whether you're an international student or if your language is not just your first language is not English, it can definitely be challenging. So we're trying to navigate some tools there and how to optimize that and increase just engagement. And yeah.
Thank you very much, Vice President Surtsel, for that. So topics that we haven't touched on before, so thank you. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, and you'd like to participate in those conversations, please Teams or email Vice President Surtsel. He'll respond to you in due time. We will now move to the Public Relations Committee. Vice President Ari Nichols, for your report.
Yeah, so we have, I've completed all of the applications that have come in so far. We had a couple more of those. Those are all looking good so far. We discussed social media strategies a bit. Me, Ashley Juarez, and then Ali was also there. Thank you. Worked on that a little bit today as well as last night. Media coordinator handed over to RLA, as you heard. They went through and did made it fit in with how we actually write our bylaws. So the language will fit into the bylaws as well as will also fit into the bylaw revisions once those go through. Hopefully you will see that next week. It's now has the 2 required sponsors that it needs. However, you're interested in looking it over before it comes out, or please let me know and I can send it to you. One other thing. We have completed the March ad for the Clarion. That will come out it comes out next week. Okay. Comes out next week. That will be the first ad to discuss actual voting in the upcoming elections, since applications will then be closed at that time. And we will shift over to preparing resources and creating things to advertise the actual elections and get people to vote. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Vice President Ari Nichols. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I would please ask if you email him or Teams. Vice President Ari Nichols will respond in time. We will now transition to our advisor for his report.
Hi, everybody. So as you noticed, a couple of folks who are not here tonight, one person in particular, I wanted me to let you know, Idman Dua has stepped down from their role on site. So if you see Idman around, still support them, but they wanted me to let you all know that effectively as of today, they have stepped down and they will continue with other measures, and we wish them the best as we progress forward. Continue to push applications, please. As VP Nichols said, we are getting some additional applications in. We also have 9 pending right now that we have people saying they're going to submit, just haven't yet. So once we get those 9 in, we will be in a good spot. But please continue to push forward for any peers that you may have. Next week, please consider attending the RLA committee meeting. That is on Wednesdays at 4 o'clock, right? All right,
4 to 5.
4 to 5. To kind of assist VP Rogers as well as committee members as it relates to the final look at the bylaw revisions, because more eyes on that would be beneficial to really give some insight on. This is the open call. If you would like to attend the final WSG meeting, which is April 10th, it's a Friday. It's an all-day thing at Mid-State in Stevens Point. We will be traveling there, and it's going to be not your traditional meeting, as some of my folks who attended before. They'll be electing in the new executive team and talking about the membership due rate increase that we had previously voted upon. So if you want to attend, please let me know in an email or a message. I need it in writing, and I'll give a deadline next week about when we have that. Everybody's stipends have been approved and disseminated. President Villarreal and I went over all of them, checked everything set. Everybody got their full amount for this half. And so you will do the same thing of meeting with President Villarreal and I for the second half as we get to April. And we've updated the form that you'll fill out. You'll get that virtually. So there's no more having to type stuff up a Word document. It should all be survey form, super easy, super simple. Shared governance elections will be kicking up as of March 23rd. So if you do not plan to return to Senate, but do plan to return to Madison College, and you'd like to still be a part of some policy decision-making, consider running for one of these student positions on shared governance. We have the multiple shared governance councils that have been met, will be mentioned today as well, including the Sustainability Council. Any student that is in at least 6 degree seeking credits is able to run for one of the open student positions. And I think every council has 2. 1 for sure, if not 2 student positions. So something to consider if you're not going to be participating with Senate. My last thing is to talk to you about the Higher Learning Commission survey. Hopefully you all got an email about that saying, hey, take the survey. Decisions are being made from above us and above student life. That the one email that's gone out will be the only email that goes out, and they have it on the visit screen. So please consider taking it. We cannot put out any additional marketing. I can't tell you why, because I don't know. But please take it. And if you know of other folks that you know you could refer to, please take the survey. We are just looking for responses as this deals with our accreditation at the college. Everything that I have.
Thank you, Advisor Cole. If there's any questions, comments, concerns, you do know where to find Advisor Cole. If not, you can respond to one of his various emails and one of his team's messages. All right, Vice President Quinn Madsen, we will transition to you for your student activity report.
Yeah, people, it is budget season. At last SAB meeting, we heard budget proposals and 3-year plans from PTK, ELT, Clarion Radio, Clarion Newspaper, Yahara Journal, and Student Media. It was interesting. It's great to hear about how the other student orgs operate, how they compare to Student Senate. Our presentation that I and Crowder will be knocking out of the park tomorrow happens at the next SAB meeting tomorrow at 1:30 Friday. You're all invited. And I think there are going to be other presentations as well. All of those, all of their 3-year plan and budgets are left in the Student Senate office. And I encourage you, Jose has encouraged you to glance through them, because those are all the budget requests that once SAB approves everything, it comes to us as Student Senate to approve the entire student life budget request. And it's good to know what we're approving of. It's good to know what you're voting on. So between now and I think we don't sign that until after spring break, sometime in April.
April 6th, I believe.
April 6th, between now and April 5th. Take a look at all those packets that are
Just don't
sitting
take
on the table. Don't take them, leave them there for other people to read. That concludes my report. Thank you all.
Very much, Vice President Quinn Madsen. And any questions, comments, or concerns, teams or email Vice President Madsen. He will get back to you as soon as he can. We'll move to Textbook Affordability Committee, Senator Brunner, for your report.
No report. We have a meeting in a week or 2 for that.
All right, thank you, Senator Brunner. I look forward to hearing about that meeting. We will now transition to the International Students Affairs Committee, Senator Sindar.
Your favorite committee. Everything is going great. And we had a chance to meet with Center of International Education, and the Director of Center of International Education, Stephanie Belmas, let us know that She will have presentation at March 10 in WTCS, Wisconsin Technical College System, about experience of international students and overview of the international students' experience. And she asked our committee members, would you like them to attend and share their thoughts? And so as a committee, we will work with CA to do this presentation together. We will try to support their mission and Mercy College mission.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you very much, Senator Sindar, for that good work, and not lost here. It will continue even after us. So thank you very much, Senator Sindar. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please ask that you teams or email Senator Sindar. He will respond to you as soon as he can. And with that, we will go to the reports from branch campuses. All of them are vacant, except Goodman South. Senator Crowder, if you have it, your report, we'd love to hear it.
I tabled at Goodman South. Talked to a number of students, not as many as I would have liked to, because it was kind of a quieter period. But I definitely know that there are some students that are saying that they're going to run for president, some that saying that they're going to run for other positions. And I just tried to encourage them and give them lots of information about Student Senate and bother people who were trying not to look at me when they watched that in the report.
All right, thank you, Senator Crowder.
Oh, and I talked to Nancy about getting a better time for tabling there. That works with my schedule. So the goal is to try and table on Thursdays, like 10:15 to 11:15. I have a class that starts 11:30, so it's kind of tight. But
Right, high traffic.
yeah, just to try and reach a different population.
Well, thank you, Senator Crowder. And if anybody does have any questions, comments, or if you're seeking advice, Senator Crowder is always open to respond. So I would just ask, please follow up if you'd like to. We will now go right back to you, Senator Sindar, for the Reedsburg report.
So tomorrow I have tabling. I think it's set for Croix campus, and I'm planning to make this tabling event in Reedsburg so I can encourage students if they want to apply or if they consider to attend later the election, something like that. I will try to encourage them.
Thank you, Senator Sindar. Yeah, I would take anything that worked from Senator Crowder and run with it, see what you have with success. So I would also ask everybody else, if you had any suggestions, to please reach out to Senator Sindar, or if you have any comments or concerns, teams or email him. We will now move to reports from College Assembly and Governors Council, and Vice President Rogers for your report in College Assembly.
Have not met yet. There's a meeting next week, Tuesday, from 2:30 to 4:30, something like that. I think it's 2:30 to 4:30. I cannot make that because I have a class conflict, so this will go into announcements, but that seat will be open. So keep that in mind if you're at all interested. They're important.
Thank you, Vice President Rogers. And that is an online in Teams meeting, so there is no room for it. But we would love to have anybody here that would like to fill in Vice President Rogers. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you want to know anything more about that, please email our Teams Vice President Rogers, and she will get back to you as soon as she can. We will now transition to Academic Council. Senator Wilmo, for your report.
Yes, we met last week. We are still discussing about the standards that the college have to follow. But the decision is hard to take because so many students are reporting to the advisors that so many teachers, professors, they are not using even Brightspace. So how the college gonna follow the standards, even they don't use Brightspace for taking classes, so we are still discussing about that. So yeah, that's my report.
Thank you, Senator Wilmo. Please keep up those discussions, very important.
Yeah.
I would ask anybody if you have any questions, comments, or concerns to please reach out to Senator Wilmo, Teams, or email. And now we will move to FPIC, Vice President Clint Mattson, for your report.
Yeah, I don't have a substantive report because FPIC has not met since I last provided a report. I'm happy to mention that I am on FPIC's Gender Inclusive Restroom Policy Committee. And we were supposed to meet this week, but schedule is conflicted and rescheduled for next week. But I'll be happy to provide a report as soon as I can on that policy movement. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Vice President Clint Mattson. And we all eagerly wait to hear from that lady. But instead, we take the floor back.
Yeah, and we are still tentatively scheduled for April 28th to tour the Commercial Avenue campus. Anyone would like to join, everyone would be welcome to join at 2 p.m.
Thank you very much. I would also ask if anybody has any questions regarding anything in that report, you would email or Teams Vice President, Matt. And now we will move to the Finance Council. Senator Larson for your report.
Yeah, so, Finance Council hasn't met since, last time we provided a report, but we are going to be meeting next week from 10:30 to 12, if anyone is interested.
Thank
That's
you
my
very
report.
Thank you, Senator Larson. I would ask if anybody has any questions on the Finance Council or any other questions in general, please Teams or email Senator Larson and she will get back to you as soon as she can. We will now transition to Information Technology Council, which is vacant. And, we will now move to Section F, Student Affairs Council, Vice President Ari Nichols for your report.
Yeah, so I've actually got some documents to share with you guys.
You got the screen?
No, I'm just sending them into the chat. So threw them in there. You don't have to look at these. The first one is labeled as Student Affairs homework. Don't feel like you have to do it, but I felt like it was a good sort of overlook as to how we kind of were breaking down the food insecurity and access concerns, since that's what we're working on. So if you ever want to look at it, I do think it is like a good sort of way to break down the issues. I've also provided a question and answer that was done with Justin Prey. Thank you.
General Manager, thanks.
Yep. So if you are curious to see his answers to certain questions, go in there, you can check them out. Besides that, we will continue to be working towards, I don't remember what the official end goal is, but we're trying to create sort of a general idea on how to further, mitigate food insecurity and access. So, kind of the same sort of general ideas that Senate and now PTA have been touching on. Hopefully we'll see that continue into next year, most likely will, I think. That concludes my report for now, though.
It was quite a bit that you had there, Vice President Ari Nichols, and I would love to talk to you about more of that interview that you have with Justice Pree. But if anybody else has any questions, comments, concerns, I would please ask if you reach out via Teams, email, or stop Vice President Nichols and talk to him. If you don't mind talking. Let's transition now to unfinished business. Bill 004, bylaws and revisions. Vice President Rogers, you have the floor for the next 20 minutes. Hold on until we are scheduled for a recess.
Our adjournment, or recess, right. All right, so the way that I'm thinking we're gonna do this is there's a list of things that were changed in the bill side of the Big Beautiful Bill. I really hope you've all had a chance to read through both the bill side of it and the highlighted red sections from the new bylaw version. It's only 20 pages, so hopefully it's not as much to read as the original one. And I would like to just kind of go through and talk about each of those 10 things. Really, I want to be asking questions. What do you guys think about it? How do we feel about these changes? If you do not like something, today is the time to say something. Next week, we're going to most likely be voting on this if things go according to schedule. So today is your chance to talk about this, get your confusions out, make sure you really understand this to the point where you could even explain this if one of the students in the hallways walked up and asked, why is Student Senate making this change? I'm gonna grab my computer.
You want me to put anything up on the screen?
Actually, that'd be great, yeah.
Like,
Can you do both the bill and the bylaws? Actually, can you do the bill first? Then we'll talk through that. The first thing, if you recall from the commitments, is to allow branch senator seats to be filled from October onwards. I had a talk with Cole multiple times in the last week, actually, and we really feel that this is something that is better addressed by the next Senate, the issue of filling those regional senator seats. There are a couple reasons for this. I mean, we've met with some of the campus managers. By we, I do mean Cole. He's doing all the work here. He's met with some of the campus managers, and there is mixed feelings on whether they actually like this change. So we really think, especially with the change that's happening with gen ed credits being offered at those campuses, it makes more sense to leave this in the status quo until the next Senate can address it. What are our thoughts on removing that section? For context, I'm in the bill half under section 2, subsection 3, subsection A, which says allowing branch Senate seats to be filled from October onwards. And if there's no complaints, I would like to remove that.
I'm gonna interject here. Is anyone's Outlook not working?
Yeah.
I'm just professional.
We're gonna, oh, that's okay. We're gonna, try to get that bill dropped in the chat. You guys should have seen the bill already. If you have any more questions about the bill,
I got it.
Vice Cole's had a little bit of technical difficulties.
We got it now.
All right.
So you want to go to section 3, right?
Yep, and that first subsection, allowing branch tenancies to be filled from October onwards. Do we understand why that is being removed, why we're no longer attempting to change that? Yes, Cole?
You want me to give some of the context behind what the manager said? Who's asking?
Just knowing the time, if people feel we need that, I'm more than happy for that, but if people feel like they understand it, because I'm not seeing any. Okay, Quinn, yes?
We could have filled, we already could have filled seats from October onwards, could we not have?
This is actually referencing a bigger change that is actually in the bylaws document, and that would allow people to, regular general senators, to establish a formal connection via tabling there, spending their office hours there and committing,
Okay,
probably
that-
2 to
that-
3 hours per week.
That's what you mean, okay.
Yeah.
Without
And then they could be
request.
voted into that seat, and then their stipend would be dependent on them maintaining that connection. Although we will be removing that newly added section, and we'll probably be re-looking at it next year, just because of all the flux that's happening there. Awesome. Seeing nothing else, I am going to, at some point, amend that. Oh, okay, the next thing that was amended was the simplification of WSG positions and alternate positions. The changes to WSG are not super significant. We are keeping that as an election within the student senate. So if you were here in the fall with us and you remember Furkan and Sanjay getting elected, it is the same process. We're just codifying it and phrasing it a little differently. Alternate positions, again, are very similar. The text was just greatly reduced. If anyone has had a chance to read that, if you have any clarity issues, I'm more than happy to clear that up. Do we have any comments on either of those changes?
Online.
I'm really hoping people actually read this and they're not just giving me blank stares and trusting the e-text with this.
Is the modified bylaws in the chat?
It is in the chat.
Okay,
I
good.
sent it Friday morning. Well, I think it was Friday at 1 p.m.
It's just for now. So I'm going to redrop it right now, just so that,
Can I do
sure
it?
that nobody can say they do, but access to it. I didn't know it got dropped before.
It's in there. I put it in there.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
And then the bill is also.
We're gonna ask that everybody reads it. We're gonna ask that everybody gets informed on it. And you have about a week before we vote on it. So please, if you haven't read it yet, you haven't seen it yet, you can even talk amongst people that have read it, that have seen it. This is gonna be very important legislation that we're gonna pass here. It's gonna be something that gets left here. So definitely want to take a look at it and know how you're gonna vote.
The second or third change that I have for you is there is a camera policy added. There were some conversations that EZEC had about this in the fall semester. And this is basically just codifying the practice that we were already using. It is just turning that de facto into a de jure policy. And the policy change is that if you have your camera off for the majority of the meeting, you get a warning. At the next time you do that, you're awarded half a point, and then you are continually awarded half a point for each time that your camera's off for the majority of the meeting.
Does that exclude, the current bylaws, exclude, or actually it requests that senators who are eating, traveling, or have a lot of movement in the background to turn their cameras off to
Because of
avoid distraction. Yeah, is that?
I believe in the text, it says that excused, that policy may be excused. So if that is communicated with the president and advisor via writing, then that excuse can be made.
Okay, so if you're gonna be eating or something, say like, hey, I'm eating right now, that's why my camera's on.
Yep,
Okay.
exceptions require advisor and presidential approval. That's in there.
Okay, great.
Any other questions, concerns? Awesome. Moving on to the next one. The next requirement, it was not officially in that office hours had to be in office. They were just listed as Senate work. At least that was my interpretation of the literal reading of the bylaws. So I am adding the in writing requirement that one of the office hours has to be in person, and then both of those hours have to be spent working on Senate work. And then obviously for officers, it's 4 hours and 2. Cool.
Just a statement of fact, because Director Ellie Creed actually saw this as well and just kind of pulled me out of the blue looking at it, that going back to this actually reflects what was done prior to COVID, that all office hours were required in person. So I was interested to see the transition on back to it. Again, just stuff she told me and want me to kind of let you all know about that.
Thanks for sharing. Matt?
I was just wondering how it's going to be enforced across the board, including at campuses that the general branch senators.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It is written in there, and this was written into the old bylaws, that office hours had to be done at the regional campus. Actually, that was not in the old one. In this new version, the regional senators, branch senators, have to do their office hours at that branch. One of them, the in-person requirement. I've totally lost my train of thought because I got turned around a couple times there. Can you rephrase your question?
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to figure out, like, is there a way that we can collect information? Like,
Yes.
are we gonna count, like,
Right.
when I've been tabling at Goodman, I'm using the clicker and
Mhm.
counting how many students I basically touch or talk to.
Mhm.
And then, so like, when I submit my report, I mean, it's not gonna be longer or anything, because I mean, I've only talked to 12 students, but I feel like there should be something implemented so it's fair across the board, and it's not just Truex, where you guys know what's going on, because, you know what I mean, you can see.
Yeah, so it's going to be subject to the same requirements and same checking procedure that is outlined in the bylaws currently, which means it's going to be looked at by Colt, it's going to be looked at by Quinn, and they're going to make sure that those office hours are things that make sense, but there's not special stipulations. We're not going to be like recording and submitting that. That's not going to be a requirement. Colt?
And actually, at the request of the campus managers, when I spoke with them, they actually want to have more direct communication with the senator that represents them. And so that's something that they've talked into, is that when they establish those office hours even previously, that they, campus manager would also like to meet with those branch campus senators like once a month. They'll be able to establish those hours with them so that they can also have resources available to them at the branch campuses. So that's something that the branch campus manager said they would want to participate in, I'm gonna say, as a collective.
Cool. Do you think that should be a requirement that once a month they meet with the campus managers?
I'm not going to give my opinion on that, but what I will tell you is that of the campus managers I've met with, and I'll be honest, I haven't met with Freddie, but Freddie's in direct communication with Ellie and I most of the time. The campus managers in my conversations brought that up naturally without me. They said that specifically to me in the context of the conversation, that, hey, yeah, this would be pretty cool. And I said, I'll take that back to you all.
Yeah, Annette?
I do think that should be in there. That's one of the first things I ended up doing indirectly, was meeting with Freddie. I mean, he even helped me by getting some things, getting some easels so that I can have our signs all up and stuff and looking nice.
Great.
And we had a lot of success with Watertown because of the fact that, oh my God, I'm terrible with people's names. Someone remember who, the refrigerator.
Yep, Lando.
Yes.
Senator Lando, yep.
Thank you.
Just one quick comment before you go, just a kind of process comment. All the changes that are being recommended and we're talking through, I'm going to, at the very end of this time, once my time's run out, I'm going to say since there's no argument, I'm going to say I motion to make the seven amendments that we talked about in meeting, and then I'll go through and actually change this document around, and then that'll get shared with you again on the back end, so you can check those edits and make sure things are the way you like before we vote on them. So all these edits will be made at an amendment at the end of this time. Perkana?
Yep, so can I ask about, I'm sorry, 1 hour office hours person? So what's our aim? What we are trying to achieve there? How do you think it will be beneficial to make 1 hour person?
Yeah, that is for a couple reasons. The biggest reason is that we are student representatives, and it is a lot easier to have that student voice when you're there with the students. And this is something that's we think can be very beneficial for, at the regional campuses, at the Truex campus. You've got people in office so students can come up with their concerns. They have a dedicated spot where they know to look for you. And it's just going to increase that transparency. And it's kind of that dedicated space for Senate work. Corey?
Would this be separate from the tabling requirement that we have? Okay.
Yep,
So it's an
that's just-
additional in-person office hour, or would it be?
No, it is a modification of the existing office hours.
Okay,
So you currently do 4 office hours as an officer. 2 of those need to be in campus,
right.
in office here on Truex. And then in the semester that you serve, you have both a tabling and a volunteer requirement.
Gotcha. Okay. And just a very quick follow-up question. How would someone go ahead and table or fulfill that requirement of, tabling, but then not get that in-person office hour? I
Well,
mean,
tabling would be in person because it would be on the campus itself.
Right.
It's online versus in person is sort of the dichotomy there. And, if someone were to spend half their hours tabling and half their hours, working in the office, they would still fulfill all of those requirements. So you can still do 1 and 1, 2 and 2, whatever needs to happen. Ben?
So our tabling requirement
was-
counts towards our in-person office hours.
Sorry, say that one more time.
I want to pass, Mr. President.
Yeah, no,
I don't know who's
yeah,
choosing
so
that.
Senator Sindar first, and then we'll go to Vice President Quinn Menza.
Sorry. So,
I apologize. It's your time to speak.
so about these office hours, I want to follow up. So, because in my old off time and other senators too, we are just going set office to just spend our time and we are trying to engage with students. Do you think that putting like a responsibility, it will affect us? Just people just go there, spend 1 hour and leave? Because right now, for example, I'm going there 2 hour, 3 hour, engage with students because that's not my responsibility. But when you say 1 hour, we need to be there, maybe, do you think it will affect? It's just a question.
I can answer for me personally. I know that when I was a regular senator last semester, I had 2 hours that I had to do, and I probably spent like 8 hours in the office just for fun. The fact that it was a requirement did not demean the enjoyment that I got out of the total body of the work. Now, maybe other senators have different experiences, but for me personally, that did not impact me, and I would hope it feels similar for regional campuses.
Thank you.
Vice President Quinn Menza, and I think Vice Cole has something he wants to say.
I was just after clarification, so if someone is doing in-person tabling, that counts towards their in-person office hour requirement.
And just to clarify, folks, I think I see what you're asking. Corey,
Yeah,
Is that your office hours, the 2 you have to do per week, that amount's not going to change. What this is stating is that in previous history, pre-COVID, office hours were 100% done in person unless there was an extenuating circumstance or doing them at the campus. So what this is doing is essentially taking what we have passed previously with the tabling and just adding that factor into it. So now it's written to there that there has to be an hour each week in person. And if it happens to be the same time that tabling is happening, you get kind of double dip, like it's just kind of there. So it's my understanding, just to give clarification to it, it sounds like it's stating that it's just rectifying 1 hour per week, 2 hours for execs will be in person, just that's it, which a lot of people are already doing. So I think to kind of for Khan's point, right, like, does that impact in any way? Well, most of folks are in person, but now it's just stating out flat, like it's going to be in person 1 hour, and it just allows you to have that availability. Because we have seen, and I mean, I can speak for President Villarreal, like students have come to the office with concerns, and we've actually heard from them and been working to address that. So hopefully that's clarified. It's not adding additional stuff. It's just saying now fully, before it didn't say you have to be in person. Now it's saying 1 hour has to be in person.
Great description.
And I'm just curious, how come it wasn't, you decided on 1 hour, 1 hour requirement instead of 2?
I actually was unaware of the previous 2 hours fully in person, so that's very interesting. The reason I went for 1 office hour in person was just to codify the rule that we already had in place. The 1 specifically was because I want that little bit of flexibility. I know there are times where I'm definitely doing work at home. I probably did like 30 hours on the bylaws at home. I would not have liked to have been required to do that in office. I just work better at home, so for my efficiency, that's why I had it.
About office hours again. So sacrificing our online option to person requirement, do you think in the future they will ask us, or you will ask us, not me, but the senators coming after us, for 2 hours? Like this is just kind of transition, or What are you thinking about?
Well, I will be gone, so I cannot answer for future senates. For my understanding, 1 hour seems to fit very well, although this is a living, breathing document that can be amended if it turns out 3 years down the road that, AI is taking over and we don't need to be in person, everything's, digital, extreme example, but things can change. Other senates will decide that. For right now, I like the 1 hour.
Just a comment, what I'm thinking about this, I think having two, in person, being 2 hours instead of one would be a lot better because, our job as a senator is to be present and to be here. So I just like to kind of add that as a thing to think about, because we're here, we're assigned to these positions so we can be present for students and communicate. So if 2 hour office hours are required, unless there's like, of course, circumstances and exceptions, of course. Just kind of keeping that in mind that, being in person is kind of why we're a senator.
I think that's a great point. I'd love to hear other feedback. Annette?
I agree. I also want to remind people that, the second office hour could be attending one of the club meetings, because that's what I used to do a lot. Introduce myself as a senator, check to see if people had questions. Go to the student leadership conference like I did today, and I put that down as office hours, even though I already got my office hours in the week.
Super great points. I know there's going to be adjournment in a minute. Do you mind if I finish this
Of
business
course.
item? Awesome. Thank you so much. Can I motion for just a super informal vote on having a 1 hour requirement? Yay or nay? Nay would be you would like to see a 2 hour requirement instead, and you can also abstain.
Sure.
While you're giving me a frown,
The wording of it, I think a little
confusing.
much, what could be beneficial, you could go to like a straw poll by hand vote and just say, raise your hand if you're good with the one, raise your hand if you're good with the two, and like alternate, just to make it easier. I'll defer to you all.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna do that. Raise your hand if you like 1 hour, raise your hand if you like 2 hour, and then raise your hand for what was the third option you recommend?
I guess there wasn't, unless you're
Just
looking
like
for
an
people who
abstain?
want to. I mean, it's informal, so it's up to you. If you want it, it could be abstained. You'd also then have to open up for if anybody wants to remove this and not have this be a part of it, you have to include that as an option.
I think you do hands up for each option.
Okay. All right. Starting with the first option, if you are in favor of 1 office hour being required in person, please raise your hand. Wow, cool.
Hold on, I can't see.
No, you got one online, Senator Brenner.
Awesome. Okay.
That's three.
And then if you are in favor of having 2 office hours required in person. Cool.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do it one more time
Just keep
for
bringing
the
it
2 hours, just so we can count
In person, 2 hours.
in person. Do you have your hand up on? Okay, that is 7.
7, 3, and 7. And if you are in favor of no in-person requirement or would like to abstain, raise your hand.
No in person.
I'm
requirement.
No in person.
I'm abstaining.
Go
Okay.
to the no in
You've
person.
got 2 there.
Seven.
1 and 1, yeah. This is democracy in action. I really appreciate your guys' voice. We will amend that. Thank you so much.
And you still have discussion once we get to this point of bringing it to the floor. So please, if you do feel passionate about either one of your positions, do some research and try to have an informed discussion when it comes to that time. And that will conclude.
I would like to bring this back once we come back from our recess. Personally, since we do have time, I miscalculated. I shouldn't have tabled anything. I'm sorry. But we now have a lot of time and I would like to keep working through this since we are about halfway through the list of changes.
Quinn Matson, you're recognized.
I motion to take our recess and then get back to this topic for an additional
20 minutes?
10 minutes.
10 minutes, motion made by Vice President Matson, seconded by Vice President.
Hold on, it's gonna be 20. You don't know it yet.
Hearing no discussion on 10 minutes, I'm going to take a vote in unanimous consent. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we will come back after recess.
Recess ended at 5:52.
Right, folks, 5:52, please come back to the room.
Right?
You just like run around and play basketball. Come on.
Well, I'll be talking to you about about last week.
Yeah, what's up? Oh, yeah, I had to, no, my sister called me, so I had to walk
We'll
out.
be back shortly.
No, she called me
Yeah,
after my
so
walk. I said, I'm in a meeting.
See that?
Ask them to run to the bathroom.
Okay. Brother said he needs to make.
No.
What? What's he done?
No.
What?
Drug dealers.
I'm sorry.
I take
No. I'll help next time, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't have the right contact.
No, you're so good. I thought I'd ask you.
Yeah.
So I'm making like.
You were wearing it.
Guys, does anyone want pepper or, sorry, pepper?
Just me tripping over stuff with my own two.
Guys, I love the red pepper.
I'm not gonna eat it as.
We have,
I don't want to not eat your food.
I'm here to say what I'm doing. We have one right now.
You are that type of person.
We have one right now.
is that right?
Yes, right.
You gotta bring us back there.
Yep.
I have to bring this back there?
No, he
No, I'll
doesn't.
be back in, I'll finish it. You. All right, everybody, it's 6 PM. We are back from our recess. Please continue to eat, but if you have a question, I advise not to ask the question while you're eating. So with that, we will go right back into the discussion of the Senate Bill 004 bylaws revisions.
I believe Cole has an update for us first.
Yeah, so I was
Vice
just
Cole, you're
talking
recognized.
to Director Ellie Crean about the changes to it, and her and I admitted that apparently there's miscommunication between us. So I just want to clarify that in case it sways your vote. When she had told me that, hey, officers were normally in person, she clarified downstairs that it was half of them. So where I took it as when she said officers were in person, thought she was clarifying that all were.
All right, for the record,
Yep.
Vice Cole has corrected his statement that all officers were in person, only half of them were ever in person.
As it was stated in the original part. So that sways your vote. I just wanted to tell you because her and I just had that break because we were talking about
Let's
that.
talk about that.
With that in mind, would anyone, maybe raise your hand, like to revote, change your vote on the past ballot that we did about whether we should do 1 hour or 2 hours in person? And no, awesome. So we're gonna keep it as is. Thank you for that update, Cole. That will be recognized. The next thing that was updated, moving right on down the list, there is a list of and limit on conduct unbecoming the sender. If you're with us, you may have, in the fall, you may have heard a little bit about that. That is the formal process by which Senate can make a complaint about another member and then potentially remove them if that vote goes through. The limit that was placed on it is previously, there was no limit on the number of times it could be introduced. That could be introduced every single meeting and you could just complain about someone if you wanted to. So we have that. That's the change there. The second, this was per Annette's advice. Thank you for the advice, was to make a list of some of the conduct unbecoming. So I went through some of the old conduct unbecomings that were in the SharePoint and I made a list of those and we kind of came up with some examples. So if you have not had a chance to look at those, I encourage you to look at those. Knowing that about conduct unbecoming, are there any questions to the examples and limits?
Vice President Knapp.
Why have you decided to list items under conduct unbecoming?
You mean each item or why they're specifically?
Why did you want to add specific?
Right, so the way it is currently phrased, and actually just pull it up, there is a general statement at the top about the things that qualify removal procedure. The two things is that it is a violation of the Constitution and bylaws, or it harms Senate effectiveness or integrity. Those are the two ways. So there is a very concrete way. You have violated a rule, and that is something that is very provable. There's a lot of examples of, there's a lot of examples of the rules that could be broken. The second half of that, Senate effectiveness and integrity, is kind of a soft, it's much more inclusive of things. So that allows two different avenues by which someone can be unbecoming. That really encompasses a lot of different examples. The examples specifically provided are not limiting to, but are just, these are some of the things. There are more things. And the ones that are in here are things that we have noticed in the past, things that we know would be derailing to Senate. And these are things that I talked about with Cole, with EZEC, and with RNLA. There's reasons behind those.
Okay. You haven't added limitations, you've added examples.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
We approved the verbiage.
Yep. Are there any other questions about that part? Awesome. Seeing that, we're gonna move on to our next section. This is a fun one. So currently, the president is allowed to vote in all closed ballot votes. And in the current way, there is a page-long description of what should happen in the case of a tiebreaker. We thought that was a little unnecessary, a little redundant, and we thought since the president already, via Robert's Rules of Order, does not vote in all open ballot elections or anything where, raising your hand, president should not be able to vote. We don't want someone in power being able to sway other senators. We have now made a change that the president is now tiebreaker vote exclusively in every vote. How do we feel about that? Meaning if it's a closed ballot vote, one instance of that would be when we are electing new people via the special election process. Normally, Jose can vote in that. This is getting rid of that power. Now, the only time Jose would be voting is if, say, it's 7-7 split between a candidate, Jose gets to cast that tiebreaker
For
vote
any type of vote.
for any closed ballot vote. Yeah.
This change was only made to, so that we have a way to quickly deal with a tie. Is that correct?
It is to fix redundancies. The entire election process was actually streamlined. I don't think this is listed here specifically because it's more of just a general thing, but there were, I think, 4 or 5 different election procedures that we had outlined. And one of the big things that I did to cut the length in half, we cut about 4,000 words from the bylaws, went from 35 pages to 20 pages. It'll be 21 pages by the time it's finished because of final edits. But one of the big things was just simplifying a lot of these procedures. And that meant having one election process. That meant simplifying the tie-breaking procedure here. And it is in line with Robert's rules. It is a fair thing, in my opinion.
And I can speak on that. As president, that is something that should be strived for, is fairness. And it's a very powerful position. If I vote a certain way and I voice that, that's going to sway some of the votes. We want to avoid that. We want you to vote on your own conscience and nothing else. If you have any questions about, yes, Senator Sindar.
Can I do comment or?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So I think it's great to decrease the power of president. I'm so happy with the decreasing power of president. No, not about Jose. Maybe other senates will not be lucky as us to have president like Jose. So that's great, I think.
Thank you, Senator Sindar.
I love increasing the power of the president. Any other comments? Awesome. Seeing none, we will move on to the next thing, which is outlining a single special, I guess I did put it in here. So before there were different procedures, this is unifying them. Now, the election procedure for WSG, for officers, for vacancy filling elections, all of those are the same. And then there are special modifications added within the text of a specific election. So there will be things where it says, this follows Article 7, subsection 1, special elections with this subsection removed or with this small minor adjustment. So we can get a little more into specificity, but it is streamlining that process. Actually, if you don't mind, I would like to dig a little more into that one just because I do feel this is one of the big changes.
And some of you might have been elected through this process, so we're going to kind of put some concrete into this and we're going to finalize it.
Do you want me to pull it up?
Sure, that'd be awesome. Can you pull up the proposed bylaws version 5? It should be the one that was dropped in the chat both by Ari and myself a little while ago.
Yep, pull it up right now. And what section do you want me to go to?
Sorry, what's that last part?
What section do you want me to go to?
Article 7, Section 1, Special Election Procedure.
And the way it stands now, it's the power of the president to ask the questions and to determine how this special election is going to go. I took it upon myself this year to turn it to the E-team, and that's what we've been doing. We just like that process, and we want to continue that process and make that into a revision.
Might be a little hard.
Yeah.
It might be right beside that highlight button.
Yeah. Is the living reading document on your side? Like, can you try and see if you can unhighlight it?
I can definitely highlight it.
Change it. When you've done that, I'll refresh the page and see if it drops.
Thank you. Highlights. Oh, I made it yellow. Else for technical difficulties. No color. Awesome. You should be able to refresh it. All right, you dropped the same one or version 5? Does that say version 5 at the top?
Version 5.
It's the same one.
Let me see if I can open desktop quick.
Thank you.
Yeah, guys, cool. If you can zoom into that document, it might help us out.
While Cole's pulling that up, I'm just going to read some of the big bullet points for you. The first one is that 1 week prior to elections, nominations will be opened. Members in good standing must be nominated by a fellow member. That is the typical requirements that you have. Means you can't be at the extent of your office hours and things like that. Nominations must be accepted and seconded. That is a new change. We are now requiring 2 nominations. There was a lengthy conversation that we had as an ESAC, and we decided that it made it less of a performative act where someone would take pity and nominate someone. This is forcing it that multiple members of Senate have to believe that you are a good candidate for that position. So we are making sure we are getting just cream and crop. We've not had an issue with nominations in the past being too limited. So we are okay adding that extra guardrail to ensure the strength of that procedure. The next section, candidates may not use generative AI to write speeches, consult Senate members or the advisor during the presentation, or remain present for other candidate speeches. Officials may be removed via Article 5 if there are any substantive proof of violations. That Article 5 is just the conduct unbecoming.
Just the section from A to E, just sort of.
Next thing, all candidates must have 3 uninterrupted minutes for their speech to GA. This was raised from 2 minutes, just so people have more time to present their case. Obviously, if someone does not use their whole 3 minutes, which is very plausible, then they don't use that time and it will be shorter. Then 3 minute, question.
So on a part where you can't help candidates with their speech by going to another senator or committee, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But anyways, does that count too with editing? Cause like I edited someone's stuff, the gentleman that went to the military, but that's because the teacher that I used to work with brought him to me.
It's a special circumstance that was part of your employment.
No,
Oh, okay. Well,
she's like, Anna, I need to meet with you. I need you to look over this. You've been in Senate, but I did mostly just editing.
yeah, it's the way it's worded. We would ask that future senators don't do that.
Okay.
Like that. I entertain motion if that time, motion made by Vice President
I wish to
Rogers.
extend by 20 minutes or until we finish, in which case it would be.
Motion made to extend the time by 20 minutes, or at least until we finish the presentation. Do I hear a second to that motion? Seconded by Senator Larson. I open up the discussion, in person or online. Point of discussion, Senator Crowder.
Could we make it until 6:30? Cause I know I have to leave at 6:30 today. More than they don't.
Just the
Oh.
original.
Can I amend my motion to extend it until 25? Because I know we have one other business item we would like to get to. Actually, let's make it 20. We can
20.
come back to this.
And then the second of that motion, accept it. All right. And with that, I take, open that up for discussion, in person or online. Hearing none, seeing none, gonna take a vote, unanimous consent in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Motion is passed. You know, we'll extend until 6:20.
Thank you. Are there any other comments about any of the things that I mentioned thus far on special elections? Awesome.
Oh,
Rakan.
So did we get rid of the part candidates may not use generative AI to write their speech? So
That is a new change that has been added. Yes, and that will continue.
it will continue,
Yes.
but I believe that that's the thing for second language English users. That's really great and giving us chance to fair play with American citizens, because even with English, it's hard to write speech, even as your mother language. I think that is the thing you should, or we should reconsider as an international student. That's my suggestion.
That is a wonderful point that I had not considered. How would you feel about AI may be allowed to translate speeches? So you could write it in your native tongue and then bring that over?
That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing normally in my life. I'm writing in my own language, but there's something cultural difference. Some words is not translate exact same. And AI is suggesting you maybe instead of saying that they will misunderstand, you can use that and that will be more nice for them. And
Like that. Senator Crowder.
I was just gonna mention that, the Writing Center will help out with anything if you are a student and there's online tutoring too. And I'm not saying that I'm going to guess what you're saying. I'm just saying that, like, once it gets translated, maybe it's something to take to the Writing Center or to schedule a meeting with the tutor to get the language bugs worked out.
Senator Crowder. Senator Sindar.
so I don't think we need to use writing center and make ourselves extra job as an international students, and that make our opponents, not opponents, but if we have somebody candidate against us, American people, we will lose a lot of time to go writing center, translate, and I don't think that's fair.
Senator Sindar, this is why we have discussion, and this is very good discussion. So thank you so much for that.
Cole?
Do you give context as to what, brought you all to add this provision into the bylaws?
There was a concern that potentially someone who had applied for Senate at some point in the past had used some form of generative AI to generate a large majority, if not all of their speech, perhaps with examples, but it sounded more AI. And there were concerns that, we want to hear authentic voices. We want to hear the actual senators who are applying. We want to make sure that's a process where everyone's contributing. Ari?
My suggestion would be to amend it to specifically say that AI should not be used to generate speeches. However, using AI to edit speeches is allowed. Translate. Sure. Whatever language you want to use.
I accept that.
That's great idea. Just making AI make a story about my senator application, it's bad idea, I agree, but what can do, like, can give overview about his life in his own language and try to add something and AI can fix some part. I think that's,
Are there any complaints to the edit that Ari proposed?
I'm just wondering about the wording. Is it edit or is it translate?
I will put edit in.
Okay, as long as it's edit, because I don't think it should be translate because it should be fair across the board.
Yep, I'm gonna do may not generate, but may edit. If there's no concerns,
so we cannot translate.
I would consider translating a form of editing. Do you think that is something that'll be considered by next senates the same way?
You look at Ari here.
Right.
Not giving my opinion. What I will tell you is that, editing is defined by the precedent you all set. So you can consider, if you choose so, that translating is a form of editing. It is not the creation of something new, but it allows you to bring about that opportunity and modify it in a way that can be used effectively. So it wouldn't outright not allow it, but it's a precedent that you all set. So if editing wants to be used generally as may not outright create, but edit, translating can be a form of editing, which I think is totally fine, but you all have to set that precedent.
Before we jump to Quinn, the way that I'm going to propose this now is that we meant to say AI may not generate speeches, but may edit or translate it. There we go. Awesome. Okay. Moving on to the next point. We need to get back to the document. All candidates will have 3 uninterrupted minutes for their speech to GA, 3 minutes to answer 3 questions prepared by, read by, and provided in writing by the ESAC Council. That is codifying precedent that we already have. Voting will be closed ballot, ranked voting, first choice, second point, or first choice equals 1 point, second, 2, etc. I talked to Cole about that. There's a Google form that I have, or a Microsoft form that I've shared with him. So there's a procedure or a way to do that very cleanly. And then the lowest total wins. If there are multiple positions, the next lowest point total would win. It's kind of like golf. The lower your total is, the sooner you win. All members present except the president must vote. If tied prior to announcement, the president casts tie-breaking vote.
Yep. So this semester we had we had some candidates and we have time remain. And when the time remain, we didn't know what to do. Maybe we can add something like when the time remain, the strategy we can do. I don't know what we can do. The other Senate members can ask, or he can just talk his own time. But I just want to bring it to you.
I really like that idea, and I had heard about that previously, and I actually said, maybe we should have that. And then I talked with Isaac, talked with Cole, and we really felt that in previous Senates, that was abused, where certain members of Senate would then use that to filibuster. They would ask really long questions, or one person would keep asking, and really just to simplify that process, we're keeping it to the questions. That's why those questions were introduced in the first place. I wish it could work. There's some guardrails put in place.
Definitely talk to you about that if you like to consider.
Then the next thing is adding guardrails to both the spring and contested elections. I am back on the bill side of things, and the specific guardrails that were implemented were in coordination with the Vice President of Public Relations. There are a lot of feedback that he had based on previous elections, so we just wanted to tighten that up. I know we were running up on time, so I really encourage you to read through those. Are there any questions or concerns about the spring and contested election procedure? Awesome. Seeing none, I'm going to move on to the next item, improving vacancy filling election rules. That is basically, we've just gone over it as those rules that I already read out to you. Here's the next one, implementing a volunteer hour requirement. This is something that certain members of EZEC are very passionate about.
Do we want the bill or the bylaws? I don't know what we're at right
Oh, sorry, yes, we're at the bills, right, the
now.
bill right now.
Okay. I can pull it up.
Thank you, Cole.
Yep.
I'm on letter J of subsection 3.
Yep, you're right there.
Volunteer hour requirement, this is something that EZEC's passionate about. We'd like to include a 1 hour requirement for volunteering. This is very similar to the tabling that we already have. And this is something that VPTD or your predecessor, or your successors will coordinate with various organizations like the Volunteer Center and other groups like that. So we kind of outsourcing that for that volunteer hour requirement. Yes.
So would it be 1 hour each month or 1 hour every other week? or
Semester.
Semester,
Semesterly.
okay.
Yep, it is just like tabling,
Okay, gotcha.
except instead of 2 hours, it is 1 hour.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Any other questions?
If whoever's in the position of team development next, would they be facilitating, where you're gonna be volunteering, or would senators be able to suggest where they'd like to volunteer for that time?
Yeah, so there was a little bit of concern there that, what if the VPTD can't fund volunteer opportunities? I know that is something that has been a challenge this year. So as it reads, they're just supposed to recommend, like, here's a contact in student life, or not student life, in volunteer center that we have worked with. Please go talk to them and do this. And that's gonna allow for a little bit of a easier role responsibility for VPTD. Yeah, did that answer your question? There's more.
Yeah, no, that's good, thank you.
Could I make just a brief comment regarding Volunteer Center?
Yeah.
I touched base with Scarlett Martino and she's a fantastic resource and very knowledgeable of the Volunteer Center, and they offer not only on-site volunteer opportunities, but remote volunteer opportunities. So for those who are impeded by, say, health condition, or they have kids and they can't leave home, or they need something that's more family appropriate, they can go ahead and go either on site or stay home and do volunteer opportunities. So when I was having these discussions, I was being posed with many questions regarding, hey, how is this going to work? Because this X, Y, and Z is happening. And I touched base with Scarlett personally, and she really allowed me to feel a heck of a lot more.
Yeah, that's a great comment. I've got one more super quick thing. The next one is adding, I'm so sorry, we're running up on time. Please Teams me your questions. I really, really want to hear from you. And if you'd like to come to the Rules and Legislative Affairs, I'd love to hear from you. One of the other ones is adding a shadowing and transition document between Senates. This is really something that EZEC's been working on. We're just going to add transition documents so the next member has kind of best practices and things like that. And there'll be a few more things. If you have questions about that, I can tell you exactly how that is, but that's more of an EZEC side of things. The last kind of important point is that we're lowering the funding cap for resolutions, and discretionary funding is going from $350 down to $300. One of the main reasons was so far we have not had a project that needed to be pushed out in a week where it couldn't be put into a bill that needed more than $350. We just feel that, adding that extra precaution is not going to cost us anything. And in previous Senates, that funding cap was abused with how much money there was. So we would like to add a few guardrails in place for that. Knowing that we are very low on time, is there any questions on that? No. Thank you all so much for listening to me ramble on about bylaws. The amendments that we talked about will be applied and probably sent out to you either today or tomorrow. And then I really encourage you to come to the Rules and Legislative Affairs Committee if you have any questions, any concerns, any ideas that percolate over the next week. I really want to hear from you, and I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. Thank you all for your time.
Well, please like to ask everybody to give back. She's worked very hard and very long on this project, and we thank you dearly for that. All right, we'll now move to new business, food at General Assembly meeting. And Advisor Cole, you want to take it here to see how it is you want to record the vote?
Did they get the backstory last week of what the food is? No. Okay. No, you talk about it? So what's been discussed is that, amongst the executive council, looking to provide you all at an upcoming General Assembly meeting. We do have the budget for it. We basically just have to fall within the timelines that are kind of set. So if you all are okay with it, the executive team has come up with a dollar amount that they'd be willing to spend. First, we have to start through dining, and if dining cannot make that work, then we go to a third-party source. So with that same dollar amount. So I guess with that, what is the dollar amount outside?
We might have to look back specifically, but
So is it under $100?
Under
That's
100
maybe
bucks.
why we're joking and stuff. So under $100, which again, our budget is totally fine. Again, you can find our budget online as well. So kind of putting it out there, someone can start the whole formal process and turn into discussion. And then basically we can talk timeline after it passes and such, because there are some things I gotta do. So, back to you all.
I need to entertain a motion to approve pizza for next week.
there was a question back there.
Can I do my?
Then we'll take it.
So are we able to choose the topics?
Oh, Senator Sindar, we're entertaining a motion to approve pizza for next week.
We're gonna motion it, then there'll be
Then there'll be
discussion and we can
discussion.
talk about it
Yep.
there.
So do I see a motion, Senator Crowder, motion for pizza for next week, seconded by Senator Juarez. Now we open it up for discussion.
So because since Senate accessible food is so important for us, are we gonna able to choose our topic for the pizzas?
Vice President Rogers, you recognize?
Yeah, I believe the idea that was thrown around ESAC is after it passes, we will go over and kind of make a list of what do people want, what is available. Dining services can get it to us and we can have it, after the sun sets for people who need to eat after. I mean, there are accommodations that can be made for the varying dining needs that we have.
Up
Yep,
to $100.
I'm happy to join the pizza committee.
Okay, is there any other discussion on getting pizza for next week?
Why is the pizza committee?
That's my point of discussion. All right, well, let's go ahead and close discussion, and I'm gonna bring this to a vote. We're gonna take a vote of unanimous consent. If you don't want pizza, just raise your hand and say, I don't want pizza, I don't want to vote for it. But other than that, it's gonna be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Motion's passed. Supervisor Cole will get us pizza. We're now gonna get copies and dietary restrictions.
You wanna close up the meeting and then have it sent on about the.
Yep, well, I'll get through the announcements and then I'm gonna do that. All right, thank you, fine folks. Did you have anything? Read that out. Big one.
I think we have time to read it.
Okay. Yep. All right, under the announcements, we do have a report from Senator Bowers, Black History Month, Protective Service Building. During Black History Month in the Protective Service Building, Bethany Bowers had the opportunity to learn more about the history of emergency services and the impact of Black leaders within our own community. It was meaningful to reflect on this history connects to the work many of us preparing to do in healthcare and public safety. One powerful example is the Freedom House Ambulance Service, which is recognized as the first modern ambulance service in the United States. Their team pioneered many advanced pre-hospital practices, including performing endotracheal intubation and administrating medications such as naloxone and they provided critical emergency care to communities that had often been overlooked and underserved, helping shape the foundation of modern EMS. We also recognize Tasha Kirk, a firefighter/paramedic serving at Madison College Fire Department Station 14, and an instructor here in the Protective Service Building. Many of us know her both, her knowledge and her humor. She continues to give back by educating the next generation of EMS and fire professionals while serving our community. This is just a brief summary highlighting pieces of Black history connected to our Madison, Wisconsin community during Black History Month. If you are interested in learning more, additional information and resources have been compiled for those who want to explore these stories further. All right, folks, thank you so much. Our college assembly position is open, so if you want to attend that, please reach out to me or Advisor Cole, and we'll get you in there. We'll make sure you get the invite. Now we'll move to our very last section. Our next meeting will be on March 12th, 2026, in room 2402 at 4:30 p.m. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I would like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Made by Senator Sindar, seconded by Vice President Surtsel. I open it up now for discussion in person or online. All right, hearing none, seeing none, you're gonna take a vote unanimous consent in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We will adjourn. Thank you, folks. Please see Advisor Cole if you have any dietary restrictions.